everyone, it's Kat and I'm back today to put some makeup on my face and do some swatches. This is a new collection from Kaleidos. The name escapes me. Alma Viva collection. It's out now if you want it. It's about awakening, a rebirth of spirit, a cascade of desire that transcends needless noise to thunder in the hearts of humanity. It's a lot. It's a lot to say about one makeup collection. So this is available now. They do have bundles. They'll probably have this bundle even though I got it in PR. So if you wanted to get this sort of bundle that also has this, obviously like this collector box and also a mirror in it, I'm sure that's available. So what do we have in the collection? So I've just taken everything out of the box. I want to say it is a nice box. It's got a nice mirror. There's my camera. It's got this like black velvet or navy, dark blue velvet lined box. It's a nice box. What am I going to use it for? I don't know, but if you have a use for that, it's not bad. Seems like the theme of this collection is very sort of pinky, mauvey, nudie, almost like a satin sort of feel to it. Like the boxes are all very metallic. They say Kaleidos on it, obviously, but it's got this sort of metallic mauvey. It's this hazy sort of almost satin sheet effect. So the eyeshadow palettes, there are two. They are both quads. There is the Twilight Rush and the Venus Trap. They are slightly different. So even though they have the same design, the material used, you can sort of tell the difference between the two. I really like this embroidered design, like not necessarily the design, but like I like the embroidery on it. It's very intricate. It looks very cool. If you're going to go material packaging, which I always think is a bit iffy for makeup anyway, you know, you may as well go with the embroidered. It does look like the female reproductive system. So did the last one. So this had a little like metal design thing stuck to it. And they're following along with that sort of vibe, but they've gone more, yeah, intricate and embroidered, which I like. This is the Twilight Rush palette. So it's all very grey purple, very muted purple. And then Venus Trap is more grey nude. So these are grey, I'll call these greige. You've got a very silvery, sparkly shade and three mattes. These do look quite similar in colour to their last releases and the other ones they have in their collection. They've only got 6 of these out and they sort of repeat the same color stories, which is an interesting choice. I will swatch these compared to the last ones because they were a purpley sort of release. But the first release I'll have on the screen, there was like a grey black palette and a brown palette. These are slightly different, but still in the same color stories, like still in the same sort of eyeshadow family. So releasing 6 similar quads when there's so many other colors out there, and we know Kaleidos can do other colors because they've brought out some really colorful palettes. It's an interesting choice. Let me just say that. We've got 4 blushes, and in a similar sort of thing that they did with the palettes, they've got the same design, but they've got slightly different colors. It seems like a choice that would have cost more and it possibly has the same effect. But anyway, that's them, not me. Let's drop them. Whoops. Now we've seen this blush format before, so this is adding to a range. These are matte blushes, and what it seems like is these are just a lot more of nudie shades being added. And this one's probably the most blushy of them. So it's like a mauvey sort of blush. So a lot more muted. They do have other shades in this range. So they brought out, I think it was 5 of them. I'll have a photo on the screen. Those were a lot more punchy with colors. There was a sort of bronzy brown. There was a red. There was an orangey color, a pink. There was, you know, a lot more vibrant colors. This is a lot softer, a lot more toned down, which is interesting. This is what I'm most interested in. It's a new lip product. Now, I think, like, I've tried all of Kaleidos lip products. I really love their Cloud Lab lip clays. Again, I feel like the colors are getting a bit repetitive with those. So I think they do need to branch out a little bit more. But I have also tried some of their lip glosses in the past, and I didn't love them, but I didn't dislike them. This is a new formula. This is called the Untamed Glow Glossy Lip Glazes, because I have to make it like clunky and hard to say. So the key features of this, there's glossy vinyl-like shine, which yes, we get that, that's the finish. There's instant reset to bouncy lips. Self-adjusts to maintain shape and consistency after pressing lips and stays cushiony and supple all day with minimal touch-ups needed. There's also breathable sensation, so the fresh, lightweight, non-sticky formula gently adheres to the lips for extended, comfortable wear. I'm hoping this lasts all bloody day. And if it does, I will check in. I will turn this into a wear test. I will do that. They're also saying it's nourishing and replenishing and it's vegan and cruelty free. So 7 shades. I'm going to swatch them all. I'm going to choose one that suits the eye look I do and I'm going to wear it. And if it does last all day, I will let you know. If it doesn't last all day and it just wears off through eating like normal lip glosses, I will do a little breakaway and let you know at the end. Okay, so these are the new palettes versus the old, like the last release of quads. So the top 2 are the new ones and the bottom 2 are the old ones. I would say this one down here near my little finger is very different. It's like a cobalt, bluey, violety, very bright palette. So there's no real overlap there. It's the other 3 that tend to get a little bit murky. Okay, so the middle palette is the older palette called Flowing Haze, and it looks like a slightly brownier version, but a mix between the 2. There is also a brown quad. Now mine actually broke, it got dropped, so I don't have it to compare, but I'll have a photo on the screen because this one is quite similar to one that's already available. There obviously are differences, but again, there is some close similarities. All right, so what I'm going to do now is swatch all these on my arm and then pick out which ones I want to use. And then I will check in and show you how like the lip products or the cheek products or the eye products wear and if there's anything to note. Okay, I'm going to swatch the blushes first. These are super soft to pick up, very, very smooth. They feel very finely milled, but they are very light. Okay, I'm fairly fair. Hopefully this picks up well. The first shade is Angel Wings. So this is that peachier shade. It looks very pretty and it actually looks not too bad on camera. It looks a little bit white based and a little bit sort of dusty, but again, very, very smooth to apply. All right, applied with a fluffy brush. Again, very light. It's a very, very subtle blush. Can you see that? Then we've got the more sort of mauvey toned pink. This one's called Pale Rose. And you can see it's a lot cooler toned compared to the first. Still very, very fair. Lots of white base to this. Almost looking like a very muted pastel blush. I've wiped off my brush. This one, I can see it a bit better. I don't know if you can on here. Can you see that? First brown is Hotshot. This is actually would be a beautiful, for me, beautiful bronzer in winter. Very, very light. Almost not, it's not orangey is what I'm saying. Very brown. I'm going to maybe zoom out a bit so we can fit it all in. But you can see there's definitely more pigment to this brown one than there is that last rosy one. These are very dusty. They have a lot of like powder fluff going. I'm going to use this one, definitely Hotshot, as a bronzer. I think it'd be a beautiful sort of blush bronzer in one. But yeah, you can't see it too much. These are very subtle blushes. This last one is called Pearl Bliss. And I would call it just like your typical nude. There's a bit of mauviness to it. It's almost like you've taken all these shades and mixed them together, or at least taken these two and mixed it together. It's a bit more purple toned. I'm not sure if you can see in the lighting. It's a little bit rosier toned, but it's very similar to the last one, just a bit rosier. These, you can see that one just in the nook of my elbow. If I tilt it, you can see the pink, but it is a very sort of powdery, dusty, light pink. I quite like these, so if you're a fair-skinned person and you don't want a really warm orangey bronzer and like a winter bronzer, these could be great. These are very, very light. I'm not sure how they're going to go, but we'll have a play. I thought I'd also swatch them side by side so you can see the color differences a bit better. So peachy, sort of cool toned pink, more brown and more rosy brown. Okay, this is the first palette I'm swatching. It is the more nude of the two, so it is in Venus Trap. It's a very soft, almost like a lavender shade. It's almost got like this soft pastel lavender shade. This is the shimmer, which is very pretty. It's like a translucent base and then this beautiful twinkly shimmer. That's gorgeous. It pretty much looks like silver though, maybe with a bit of a mauve base. The next matte is this sort of, it's like a rosy grey. It's very cool toned. I might actually change this lighting a bit. It looks quite warm. Hang on, I'll do the last one first and then do that. The last one is this cool, what looks like a dark grey brown almost. On camera it looks really brown. I might actually change up the lighting because everything's looking very warm. All right, that's probably a little bit more accurate at the moment. So you can see it's very cool. This is very light, pastel-y. That's beautiful, twinkly mauve with a silver glitter. This one is Twilight Rush. It's a bit different. It's actually got two shimmers. So that really dark shade is like a metallic grey. And it's got this beautiful purple shimmer as well. Okay, the first shade, you can see it's a lot more blue than this one here. So very purple, very blue. I've got that shimmery, this looks very similar to one in another palette. So it's like a soft shimmer. It's like a warm purple with a sort of pink iridescence to it a little bit. Then we have another lighter purple. This one, again, it's sort of similar formula to that first one, but it's got more purple to it, more purple tones, but very light and not super pigmented. This dark grey looks like it's got the most pigment. It's almost like a black with silver, very, very micro sparkle silver in it. So that is an interesting one. Some people will love that, other people won't, but you can see how cool toned these are. Okay, I have swatched the last two palettes below. So this is that sort of more browny purple one, and that is more vibrant purple. So this one is very different. So that there's not much similarities. However, when we get into this one, this shade here looks very similar to that shade there. It's just a little bit more, it's got a sort of warmer sheen to it. So instead of having more of a pink iridescence, this has more of a browny sort of gold iridescence, so it's slightly warmer. You can see these two mattes are very similar to this one, but just a bit more brown. But this purple and this purple, they're very similar. So again, this one's a lot more cool toned. This one's a little bit more berry toned. Are they exact double ups? No. Can you incorporate them all if you love these color stories? Yes, but it just seems strange for a brand to double up so much in a limited quad range, but this does stand out as being its own thing. First shade I'm swatching is Skinny Dip, so it seems to be like a caramel nude shade. Elixir looks to be more of a rosy nude. Hot Pursuit is more of a mauvey nude shade there. Last Smoke is even more cool toned, so even more mauvey toned. Quite similar. Pink Marquise seems to be a bit deeper, but definitely a rosy pink. Penthouse has a lot of shimmer in it. This is like a pink shade with what looks like micro gold shimmer in it. Almost looks like NARS Orgasm in a lip gloss. Very, very sparkly though. Freefall is like a grey base with what looks like white. I don't want to say white, but like clear iridescence to it. I'll see if I can build it up a bit. It almost looks silvery, but like iridescent silver. So that would just be a really high shine, sparkly shade. Okay, time to put some makeup on. I'm going to use my NARS primer. This is the Tinted Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, the shade Medium. Okay, the eyeshadow palette I'm going to use is this one. Firstly, I really am interested in that sparkly shade. I want to see how it layers on top of things, and how, like, if you can sheer it out, is it going to be a really beautiful sort of cool toned, twinkly, everyday glitter, or is it going to be one of those really like disco, sparkly, chunky ones? We'll find out. But also the problem with having very similar color stories repeated is you're going to find there's going to be people that don't want dark smoky purple kind of shades, and that's me. I like a cool neutral tone nude, but I don't want something that's so smoky that I feel like I look like I've been punched in the face. So I'm just going in with that first sort of pastel-y mauve shade. It actually applies very nicely on me, but I do have quite light skin. So this is going to look chalky on a lot of people. It's borderline for me. I think this is nice because it's light, it's blendable, and because it's so sort of close to my skin tone, I don't need to worry about it not being blended or anything. But yeah, not everyone has the same color skin as me. I'm going to go in with that shimmer, and I want to put it directly on the base just to see how it applies. I'm going to turn this down because I feel like you're not going to be able to see it. I really like this. I really like it. Like, can you build it up? Yeah, I will test it, but I also just like it how this is. So I sort of don't want to test it. If you wanted to go like a twinkly night sky look, use a dark shade and then put this on top. I just think it's very pretty. It's getting very dark as well. Like, there's going to be a storm happening soon. So ignore the moody lighting. But I really like this just for like a pretty look. Begrudgingly, I'm going to build it up. But I don't like silver eyeshadows too much. Can you build it up? Yes, I can see it there. You can build it up. And I'll only build it up in a little section because I like the twinkly effect more. I feel like this really sort of dispersed glitter. Lean into it. Oh, but it's so pretty. This is really pretty. I like it. I like it built up. I like it dispersed. I think it's a gorgeous silver shimmer. I think this is gorgeous. I'm just going in with that third shade down there. So that was in the crease. That's on the lid. This is just going to finish it off. This is going to be a very quick eye look. To be fair, I don't feel like wearing a lot of bold makeup today. I just want to see how these perform, and I just wanted to swatch them mainly for you. Just putting that in the outer corner as well, just to deepen it a little bit. I think this grey colour, again, that one there, is a little bit too cool toned for me. It's looking a little bit bruise-like, a little bit like dark circle-ish. This is going to be fantastic for people that love very cool toned eyeshadows. Just blending it out a little bit with that first sort of more mauvey colour. Going to be great for you because if you love these sort of shades, these really cool shades, and you find them hard to get, you've got them, but they unfortunately don't suit everyone. But the top two shades, very, very quick, like sparkly, twinkly, fun look. I think that's really, really pretty. I'm going to finish off this look, bit of eyeliner, bit more mascara, and then we'll get onto the cheeks and the lips. All right, this is the look after I've put some winged liner, a bit more mascara, and some brown liner on my waterline. I really love this. I think it's gorgeous, but this is the coolest I personally will go. That purple smoky palette with the black with the sparkle, not for me. It starts getting into costume makeup. I start looking like I'm ready for a Halloween party. This is the coolest I can go without it looking like my under eye bags are back, even though I've been trying to hide them with concealer. So I think this is really beautiful, but this collection in terms of eyeshadow, I don't think it is really suited to me. Okay, time for the cheeks. I'm going to go with Pearl Bliss, which is the rosier of the browns, and I want to see how this looks as a bronzer for me. I already have a tiny bit of bronzer on because I didn't think I was going to use these as bronzers, but I feel like this could be a blush bronzer in one for me, and I'm all about the 2-in-1 life. So this, very powdery, very soft. Even when I'm building it up, you can't see it very well on my skin tone. The glitter from the silver is also on the tops of my cheeks. I'm not sure if you can see it. There is a bit of fallout with that glitter, but you know, it is what it is. Pretty color, very soft, very subtle. If you don't have the fairest of fair skin, this is not going to really be for you. I'm just putting a little bit more here just to balance it out. I do have, yeah, like I said, I've got a little bit of bronzer on anyway. I was looking a bit dead today, and I'm just enhancing that deadness. I'm going to go in with Angel Wing. This is that more peachy shade. Oh, golly gosh, it looks so light. Just dusting off my brush. I'm going to use this on sort of like the apples of my cheeks. Can you see much colour? Only a very small amount. And I'm building that up. Ooh. This is definitely not an inclusive range. This is designed for a very small segment of the population. Okay, I've built that up and you can see it and it's pretty, but it is subtle. Okay. When it comes to foundation ranges, I'm usually like the 4th lightest. And that blush is almost too light for me. And it requires a lot of building to get there. It's pretty, I got there, but very light. I'm dying to use this sort of grey Freefall shade on the lips. This is, to me, the most interesting one. I will probably put a colour on instead, unless this is really cool. It's pretty. It's sort of like the eyeshadow. That sort of silvery twinkle with a grey sort of base. Oh, I just got it on my skin. That's what this is. It's very pretty. I like that. Feels quite thick, so it doesn't feel like a lip oil. It's very slippery, but it's got like a substance to it. So I hope it does last a long time. I'm actually going to take this one off, even though I like it. Beautiful, sparkly. Looks scary. It's not. It's gorgeous. If you like a clear lip with a shine, this is the one you go for. Freefall, beautiful. But I do want to apply something a little bit more color, just because I feel like this color story has washed me out a lot. The cheeks and it being like a matte and quite powdery, I feel like I'm looking a little bit washed out. So I'm going to put this one on. So I've got the shade Hot Pursuit. So this is a cooler tone mauvey one, but it's not the coolest tone one. Pretty. They feel very nice. I feel like with a lip liner, you get a really pretty effect, like a little bit more definition and color than it just applied on its own. So that's really pretty. So I built that one up a bit because I wanted some color back in my face. Feels really nice. I don't know how to test those claims of like press your lips together and something. But I can tell it's very shiny, very comfortable. These don't have a fragrance, so there is some scent to it, but it's like raw ingredients. Very, very shiny, very, very pretty. It's a nice pairing with the matte cheek. But I'm a little bit torn with this collection. I'm going to be back with a little bit of an update, so I'm going to wear this throughout the day. All right, I'm back. It's about a week later, and I've been playing with the majority of this range, and I have adapted my feelings, or, you know, I know what I think. I'm going to say I haven't used the purple quad simply because it's too dark for me. It's not something I'm going to use, so I would prefer to pass it on to someone that will enjoy it. But today I am wearing the sparkly shade from that nude quad, and I'm going to say I love this shade. I would buy this quad for this shade. It is the most twinkly, delicate, silvery, like with clear base. It just looks high-end but fun. It's so pretty. I've got a baby that's playing with a tripod, but I'll just show you. It's very, very pretty, very twinkly, and I just love it. It's so easy. It's just over a primer. I love it. I think I would buy this palette for that one shade. So annoyingly, the rest of the palette, I wouldn't really use too much. This is too dark. This is too sort of cool tone, almost like bruisey, sunken eye looking. This is too light. It looks very chalky. So I would buy this just for the twinkly eyeshadow. And I would spend the money for the twinkly eyeshadow. I would prefer it in a single, but you know, it is a beautiful eyeshadow, and I'm gonna have it in my like top drawer because I just love it as like a twinkly one and done. What I've paired it with today is one of the blushes. So this is that sort of bronze mauvey, the rosy sort of bronze blush. So Pearl Bliss. This is such, like, it's very, very subtle. Even on the eyes, you can, like, I had to build it up. I've got this on my face today as a subtle bronzer. This is beautiful, fair-skinned bronzer because of those rosy tones. Does it need a bit more pigment? Yes, it does. These are way too light. To be fair, this is probably the only one I'm going to keep because the tone is my perfect subtle matte bronzer in winter, and that's very hard to find, but the rest of them are too pale. They're just way too pale, but this tone, very, very subtle, adds a little bit of color. but I love it. Again, I just want it to be slightly more pigmented so I don't need to build it up, build it up, build it up. So I'm still not happy about the blush range being way, way, way too light, but this shade is very, very pretty. All right, I've got to make this quick because I've got kids everywhere. Lip glosses. Now I've heard people say some really good things about these and they are very beautiful. They're very wet looking. I do think there's too many similar shades in the range. They probably could have cut down on a few shades and added deeper shades to the blushes. In terms of the formula, I think, again, they're nice. They're quite thick, they're quite shiny, but not like gloopy, which is very, very nice. So these look nice, they feel nice, but do they wear a very long time? Now, I have heard people say they do, but I wore these all day Monday, and I swear to God, I reapplied them 4 times, and half the day I didn't look like I had product on my lips. So if you drink water, drink tea, snack, anything that goes on your lips, these wear off like any other lip gloss. But if you put them on and you don't touch any food or drink for hours, yeah, they might be long lasting. But it's not a miracle product that lasts through eating and drinking and that kind of thing. It's just a thick lip gloss that's not gluggy. So some people love them. I think if you don't drink water and stuff like that throughout the day, they will last a good few hours on you. For me, I just felt like I was reapplying them as much as a normal lip gloss. So my favorite products that I'm probably going to keep reaching for is the sparkly eyeshadow and the rosy bronzer blush type product, just because they're quite unique and I think they're really, really sort of pretty in terms of tone or effect. But yeah, it's not my favorite Kaleidos collection is what I'm getting at. Okay, so I don't know how this is worn. You know, I don't. But my feelings on this collection, look, I love that they're delving into new lip formulas. I think that's excellent. I really like Kaleidos lip products in general, and these feel very nice. Okay, so the blushes to me are very hard to use. Virtually, I don't want to say unusable because that's not the case. I can use them, but it is like the dead of winter in Australia. I am the fairest that I will ever be. I don't think I can get any fairer. And these barely show up on me when I apply them quite heavily. They are quite soft. They are quite powdery. They are quite matte. They do give a nice little flush to the cheeks, but not many people will be able to wear these. These are for like the fairest of the fair. I do really like the direction of the nude blushes, and I like the direction of the rosy browns because there's not enough brands, in my opinion, bringing out very cool toned bronzers for people. So often when they bring out cool toned like cheek products, they think contour. They go like the sort of more grey toned contour shadow effect. I don't want that. I want some warmth in my skin, but I don't want it to be orange or gold toned because it does actually look quite dirty on my quite fair skin at the moment. This rose tone is gorgeous. It just has to have more pigment. I feel like the formula is very nicely, it's like very smooth. I can imagine it applying really nicely, very soft, but I just needed a little bit darker. It would have been nice to have one light and one a bit darker, and one even darker for people with deeper skin that want that sort of rosy, bronzy blush combined thing, because I think that's such a cool idea, and I would put this in my makeup bag. I will put it in my makeup bag so I can keep using it, but I just feel like they're not dark enough. Like it took me a lot to build it up, and I barely have much color in my face as it is. So I like where this is going. I just don't think it's quite there. So if you are the fairest of fair, check out this range. You will like them. Fairest of the fair. Fairest of the fair. In terms of the palettes, like I'm very familiar with Kaleidos eyeshadow formula, and I like them. I think they wear nicely, they apply nicely, and they're really good at doing colors. These, I feel like they're lackluster just in the scope of the range that they currently have. These are lost in the range. These don't stand out. They're not new. They're not exciting. The packaging is very nice, but that's pretty much the main difference. This doesn't sit super well with me. I wanted to try the lip products, which is why I mainly wanted to try this in PR. But the powder products are very, very, very narrow with who it will suit. The people who will suit it will absolutely love it. But they need to look at being a bit more innovative and inclusive, and not even like reinvent the wheel, like create a completely new makeup palette, just delve into other color stories. Quads can be beautiful little capsule things. Give me an emerald green one. Like, not everyone will buy it, but it will be different and it will be interesting. Give me like a quad of those interesting sort of topper sparkle ones, like in different colors. Like, not everyone's going to buy it, but it's going to stand out as being different, not the same thing repeated. So even though I like Kaleidos, even though I appreciate them sending me this in PR, I am going to struggle to use half of it. Half of it I'm going to really enjoy, half of it I'm going to struggle to use. And for me, like, look at my skin tone. So I'm really hoping that from now on, Kaleidos is going to, if they're going to continue with the quads, which I'm totally fine with because I like a little capsule palette, I'm hoping that they go into a different direction, bring out something that we haven't yet seen from you. Or if we've seen them in the bigger palettes, make it a little capsule color palette. I don't care, just not mauvey gray, purple sort of palettes that we've seen before. And if you bring out more blushes, please have like too light, too deep, so more people can use them, because as it is, like, I'm struggling to use them and it says a lot. But yeah, that's my first impression of the range. Let me know what you think. Usually there's always a lot of buzz around Kaleidos collections, and from what I've heard, there's a buzz for the wrong reasons with this one, and I understand it. And from playing with it, I was hoping like, oh no, it looks quite light, but when you put it on, it's gonna like build up. It doesn't. It's how do you build up more white pigment? I'll have links in the description box. I'll have names, and I hope this wore really well, so I could end this on a more positive note. I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.